वो AI में सबसे लो है ना वो बोलिए तो ऑनलाइन तो बोल कर देना इसमें कर देना Pauline Giordino को please prepare for it. एकदम को हाँ मैं हम आते हैं
So, IBS Hyderabad, kindly mute your mic.
The Association of Indian Universities, AIU, as we all know, is one of the premier institutions of the country working for the cause of higher education since its inception in 1925. Some of the main objectives of the association are: serve as an inter-university organization, act as a liaison between universities and the and the governments, act as the representative of universities of India, and to assist universities in obtaining recognition for their degrees, diplomas, and examinations from other universities, Indians as well as foreign, to help universities to maintain their autonomous character, coordination, and mutual consultation. The AIU also acts as the representative of the universities of India. The AIU organizes an interface session with international delegates in its Vice Chancellor's meet to discuss issues with international delegates. The session aims to enable delegates to communicate their views and information about their respective bodies to Vice Chancellors. The speakers discuss their organization's latest development, schemes, and policies, while Vice Chancellors raise queries and provide suggestions for each apex body. Issues related to cross-border education are discussed, and possible collaboration and memorandum of understandings are worked out.
I would now like to announce the chair of the session, Mr. Colin Riordan, Secretary General and CEO, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, London. Professor Colin Riordan was the former president and the vice chancellor of Cardiff University, UK. Before joining Cardiff University, he worked as the vice chancellor of the University of Essex, UK, having been appointed in 2007. He has published widely on post-war German literature and culture, including writing and editing books on the writers Jurex Becker, Moose Johnson, and Peter Snyder. His other research interests include the history of environmental ideas in German culture. Mr. Riordan will be joining us in a virtual mode. I would now request the eminent speaker for the session to take. Okay. So Professor Bola Thapa, he will be the co-chair of the session, the Vice Chancellor, Kathmandu University, Julie Kale, Nepal. He is also a professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Kathmandu University. Professor Thapa served the education sector of Nepal in different capacities, such as head, dean, registrar, to name a few.
Our next speaker for this session is Professor Amir Pomik, who is the founding Vice Chancellor, Lincoln University College, Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. Dr. Pomik has been the Executive Vice President of the International Education Consulting Group, St. Louis, USA, since 1999. Dr. Amir Pomik was a research fellow of UNESCO, Paris. During this tenure, Dr. Pomik has traveled extensively to Europe, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Next, we have Professor Kunal Sehgal, Director, International Markets and Affairs. Professor Kunal Sehgal brings several years of international strategy consulting and corporate finance experience across Asia, North America, and Europe, having worked with major players in the financial service sector by offering solutions in M&A and foreign direct investment. His research interests include valuation techniques, financial due diligence, and organizational strategy.
We welcome Ms. Sujana Reddy Mayreddy, USIEF's Regional Officer, Hyderabad. Sujana Mayreddy has extensive experience of working in the field of education, both in the higher education and K-12 segment. Over the years, she has helped build and manage various communities, networks, and relationships that help sustain and meet the business goals effectively. In the past, she worked in the Indian School of Business, Deloitte, and Troker, and the World Trade Organization.
I would now like to welcome Mr. Adit Malkani. Mr. Malkani is Regional Director, Membership, Asia Pacific at Association of Commonwealth Universities and is the Senior Representative for the ACU in the region. Mr. Adit has responsibility for developing ACU's regional work, building presence and engagement across the Commonwealth in pursuit of a range of organizational objectives. He is responsible for the delivery of the regional engagement pillar of the membership strategy, supported by a globally located regional engagement team. He is based in India, where the ACU has membership of 100 plus universities. Prior to joining the ACU, Mr. Adit was Indian country head for Kings. I would now like to request the audience to welcome our speakers who will be joining us today in distant mode. First, we have Dr. Katya Lash, Director, DAD Online. Dr. Katya Lash is responsible for the German Center for Research and Innovation, New Delhi's strategic management. She is responsible for the coordination and strategic development of DAD activities in India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. Katya Lash holds a doctorate in history and is also qualified in business administration. Then we have Dr. Liu Lixin, President, Asian University Sports Federation. Dr. Liu Lixin was elected as the President of the Asian University Sports Federation at their General Assembly in Dubai in May 2023. Finally, we have Ms. Laura Yan, Vice Secretary General, Asian Universities Sport Federation. I would request my speakers and the co-chair of the session to begin with the session. And I also request to follow the 5-minute timeline for the session. Thank you.
There we are. So I think I may now begin. Could I just have an indication that you can hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. As you've heard, thank you very much for those kind introductions. As you've heard, my name's Professor Colin Reardon, and I'm the Secretary General of the Association of Commonwealth Universities, about which you've also just heard. I was a Vice Chancellor myself for 16 years, as the introduction indicated, and for more than half of that time, I was the international lead for Universities UK, which is the UK counterpart of the Association of Indian Universities. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to be here today. I'm very grateful to Professor G.D. Sharma, the President of the AIU, and Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, who's the Vice President and incoming President, and of course, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, the Secretary General of the AIU. I'm grateful to all of you for that. Now, our speakers have been introduced, so I'll just say a few words really about the topic by way of introduction, and then perhaps ask our speakers to come in with a brief indication of their thoughts before we move on to the open session of this part. So the topic, of course, is international collaborations and partnerships, which clearly are critical for any university. As we know, we all thrive on a diversity of people, a diversity of cultures, a diversity of viewpoints. That's really where the strength of academic inquiry comes from, and indeed the strength of teaching, exposing students to different ideas and allowing them to debate them. And this, of course, applies as much to research as it does to teaching. So it's critical, as we know, for every university. I believe it's also critical for any university system in a particular country. It's very important for universities in particular countries to be open to global and international collaborations and partnerships if the requirement is to be successful, which of course it is. And the reason, of course, is the bigger the pool to draw on, the more likely it is that the brightest talent will emerge. If you're drawing from a small pool, it's more difficult to find the best people. So there's a relatively straightforward explanation, as well as the diversity. It is the size of the pool that you're able to draw on, and the global pool is the biggest one. So just a word on what makes for successful international collaborations and partnerships. I think the most important aspect of that is that there needs to be mutual benefit. Both sides must benefit from the collaboration. All participants in the partnership must see some benefit for them. So that's a key part, is mutual benefit. The second, but absolutely vital element of this is strong relationships, and that means a strong personal understanding between the members on each side, and a strong personal commitment from those who are leading the collaborations and partnerships. So that's critical as well. Mutual benefit and strong relationships are both essential to success. Agreed common goals are vital. You need to be clear about what it is you're trying to achieve in the partnership and how you're going to do it. So then that is usually achieved, isn't it, through some form of written agreement, a memorandum of understanding or similar. A fourth element is sufficient funding. These things do require some funding to work on the whole. So there has to be some way of ensuring that there's a way of funding the partnerships in an agreed and equitable way. And the final element I'd mention, which is quite important generally in international partnerships, is government support and at least encouragement. Ideally backing, but certainly a supportive government and encouragement to form international partnerships is extremely important in my experience. And of course, on this last point, India's new educational policy 2020 does provide specific encouragement for international collaboration. There are 2 paragraphs specifically on that, encouraging Indian universities to internationalize, and a whole range of international opportunities to arise, including for international universities to be active in India. And of course, there are many other ways to cooperate. And I know a particular interest in the ARU is cooperation through sport, which is, of course, things like cultural activities like sport and music and that kind of thing are extremely important. So those are a few words really of introduction to the topic, and I'm sure that our speakers will have their own views on these matters, which they would like to put forward. Perhaps I could start with the people that I can see on my screen. I have to say it's slightly difficult to hear what's happening in the hall. I can get the gist of it, but I'll start with the people on my screen because they are a little bit easier for me to see. So if I could ask Dr. Katya Lash, to perhaps briefly introduce yourself and say your opening, or give your opening statement, please, if that's possible. Dr. Lash.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I hope I'm audible. Would you confirm? Okay, great.
Indeed.
Thanks so much for the invitation, and I'm unfortunately cannot be in Hyderabad, so a lot of greetings to all the delegates in Hyderabad, and thanks to ARU for the kind kind invitation. So my name is Dr. Katja Lasch. I was introduced. I'm heading the DAD regional office here in New Delhi. Now, let me maybe briefly say what is the take of the German Academic Exchange Service on international cooperation and highlight a couple of pointers from our work in the Indo-German context. The German Academic Exchange Service, or better known as DAAD, is a government agency, and our main scope is to internationalize higher education institutions in Germany. We are working in 3 pillars. We are offering scholarships for individuals. To give you a number, we supported last year 2,200 Indian students coming from India to Germany, but we also bringing German students, teachers and faculty to India. So we believe that we don't see it as a one-way direction. So we believe that internationalization always is on co-working on an eye level and working in both of the directions. Our second pillar of activities is supporting international cooperation of higher education institutions through cooperation projects. We offer a couple of funding lines to German universities to go international and to develop programs with their international counterparts, also with India. And we have a couple of funding lines open where our Indian co-partners are co-funding, like the DST, Department of Science and Technology, but also the CSIR and also the Ministry of Education. And I think, and I truly believe that's important to see here that India is also believing in cooperation on an eye level and is contributing also financially to cooperation. Now, these schemes are running either in short term or long term, and we see huge interest. And to give you an idea, we have currently underfunding for India 72 projects with a couple of Indian and German universities. Our third pillar is capacity development. We are currently supporting Indian higher education institutions in the development of their international offices, a mandate which came from the national education policy. So what we do is offering workshops, connecting them and trying to give them some inputs how to manage international cooperation projects. And we have a lot of expertise. We recently came out with a publication on double degrees and joint degrees in the Indo-German context to help our German universities and the Indian universities. Now, let me maybe highlight a couple of things for cooperation in the Indo-German context. First of all, internationalization is not only about mobility. Very often I hear numbers, movements of students and faculty, but as mentioned by Colin Rawdon, internationalization has a much broader outlook, research, internationalization at home, and also research and cooperation projects. We see at the moment in the Indo-German context that the network is still limited, and there is an imperative to enlarge the network between Indian and German universities. On the Indian side, going beyond the institutions of national importance, IITs, ISAs, and so on, and also to reach out to the second and third tier cities. And the same holds true actually on the German side, to reach out to the smaller universities and to connect them and to find a good cooperation partner between the two institutions. My second point is we at the moment see certainly an imbalance in the exchange between India and Germany, and I think that holds true for the whole of Europe. So the number of Indians going to Europe/Germany is very huge, and we need to increase the number of incoming students from Europe to India to offer internationalization at home, to give them an Indian exposure, to give the Indian students in India an international exposure, and to balance the exchange better. We have a couple of hurdles which we have to overcome here, and I think one of the main barriers is that India, at least in Germany, and the educational offer is not so well known. It's not so well known that the education is offered in English, and also the quality education offered by India is not so well known. And I think we need to do a lot of things to promote and improve there. And one thing we are looking at the moment, one program as that is in short-term programs, summer schools. So I think bringing students, faculty for short-term stays could be a very good approach. My third point would be funding. We need more funding. International cooperation of higher education institutions is not working without funding. I think that's a request which one has to make to both of the governments, despite the funding programs in place. I think we need to increase the funding lines, and we need a more stable funding. So going beyond this one-to-one exchanges and going more into cooperation projects over a couple of years to build further on that. So this would be my 3 points for the input. I would leave it here and then hand it back to the moderator, Colin Rawdon, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lash, and some very interesting and useful points there, mentioning internationalization at home, which is actually a critical thing because not everybody can afford to go abroad, and there are issues about the carbon load of students going around the world. And the point about stable longer term funding is really important because people need to be able to plan for these cooperation agreements. So very useful. Thank you very much. If we could move to Ms. Laura Yan now, who's the Vice Secretary General of the Asian University Sports Federation. So this is the point that I mentioned earlier on of various types of cooperation. There are many of them, but internationally, things like music, and in this particular case, sports are, of course, vital. So over to you, Laura Yan, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Colin Ryden, our chair of this session, and dear speakers and the Vice Chancellors of all the AIU member universities. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First, I'm very delighted to meet you online. Thank you very much for your invitation. And on behalf of Dr. Liu Lixin, the president of our federation, and in my own name, I would like to express the congratulations on this meeting because I noticed that it's 98th meeting. So I also noticed that it's a long history of AIU. So say you must have did an excellent job in the previous, and just like our chair said, we need more cooperation because of the diversity in culture, diversity in different aspects in our life, especially it's very important for our youth. So for I give some idea about or brief introduction of
You're on mute, Dr.
something. Yes, I lost a bad meeting. So for our federation, the Asian University Sports Federation is one of the continental federation of FISU. I think maybe most of you may heard of FISU. It's the International University Sports Federation. It's the governing body of the world university students for sports. And some of you may heard of the Chengdu World University Games held last year in China. It's a kind of a big party for all the youth. For AUSF is one of the 5 continental federations of FISU. It was founded in 1992. It's a long history. Comparatively speaking, it's still a young organization, but we have after more than 30 years, we have affiliated 41 member federations in the whole Asia. In Asia, we have 48 countries and regions in Asia. Currently, we have 41 countries and regions be part of AUSF. India is also one of a very active member of AUSF. In Asia, we have the biggest population of students. So we hope that our federation is to promote the all-around development of youth through sports. We hope that through sports, our youth can learn how to cooperate with each other, how to compete with each other, and how to work together for a better future. So for our understanding, sports, and I mean that the competition is not just any sport events, not just the competition, not just the sport events. Actually, it's a platform for all the youth to be interact with each other. So as the governing body of the Asian University, the University Sports in Asia, we just start our events like we have championships for sports events, and also we have some educational projects like we have the dialogue for all the president or secretary general of the federation, the member federation, and also we have a seminar for the administrative staffs from all the member federations to and also we have workshop for the coaches. When they join in our championships, the coaches can learn from each other. As I mentioned that, India was a member of AUSF since 1996 and really playing an active role in promoting the development of physical and cultural education through sports among the university students. So we highly appreciate the great efforts of AIU in the previous history of AUSF. And we also hope that in the future, AIU could be more and more active. And we hope to see more students and more coaches to be in AUSF events. So you see, due to the pandemic, previously we just have on-site events, but due to the pandemic, it's difficult to get interactive with each other on site. So we try to have a kind of reform to have some kind of online events like chess, and also we have some celebrations to have online. So it's easier, you know, because the whole Asia is geographically spread. It's really costs a lot for the students, I mean, for the participating teams to fly from east to the west. It really costs a lot. So for the online event, we just save some money and also find a more way for the, one more thing, it's not only for the economic issues. One more thing is, you know, our student athletes are dual career, one as a students, one as athletes. So we don't want to borrow too much of their study time for our competition. So for online events, it may be easier for them. They don't need to bother too much time to travel for such a long way to attend some very important competitions. Previously, AUSF have tried, you know, one of the most important goal, we call it the strategic goal of AUSF is to develop our brand name events. In the previous year, we have organized a variety of Asian university championships in past decades, like football, basketball, volleyball, 3-on-3 basketball, taekwondo, to name just a few. And also we have, besides this, we also have, as I mentioned, we have strategic dialogue, seminars, and workshops. So I hope that in the future, like in this year, we have, we'll host the Wushu Championship this year in China this June. And also we have a 3-on-3 basketball championship also this June in China. For this 3-on-3 basketball championship is quite special, together with the football championship is quite special. As I said that AUSF is one of the continental federation of FISU. So our 3-on-3 basketball and football are the qualifying tournaments of FISU World Cup. So that means the champion of the 3-on-3 basketball and football will be qualified to FISU World Cup directly. So it's quite encouraging. If our teams are quite excellent enough, they can have a chance. I mean, they win their tickets to go to a higher level of the competition directly. So I think this is quite encouraging. And also this August, we'll have a Dragon Boat event. Because I know that maybe some events is quite popular, and we also hope we are working together with our member federations to figure out some local or regional events. For example, if like football may be quite popular in the Southeast Asia, because the Southeast Asia countries, they are quite closed. It's easier for them to travel to each other. So we can develop some events that are popular in that area. And I know that even football is quite popular in the southern part of Asia as well. So we try to think about, and if for the because in the south part of Asia, the India is quite an active member there. And actually, under our AUSF, we have a South Asia University Sports Federation with a member of India, Nepal, and Bhutan, and Sri Lanka, some country from the southern part. If you can let us know what is the most popular events in your region, and we can help to promote this event and how to help to organize an international event over there. So by doing this, we want to create an equal opportunities for all the students in the Asia to compete with each other under the umbrella of AUSF. We really hope that, because India has a very large population of students as well, and I noticed that you have a lot of vice chancellors present at this conference. I hope that we can have more Indian universities, more students from the Indian universities can join our events. To be honest, previously we didn't see too many Indian teams in the championships. We think that maybe we can find the right way, because I knew have a little knowledge about the system in India. So that's the reason why I say that thank you for your invitation, because it's really good for me to learn more about how you organize your events and what's your request to promote the all-around students, the all-around development of students, whether you are focused on the sports, etc. So in this way, we can work more closely together. Just before I add to my sharing, I just want to quote one of my remarks from our former president. He said that he quite encouraged the youth to communicate with each other. He said that once we participated in any international events, he encouraged the youth to make overseas friends. He said that once you make the new friends, you open the door to know the world, know the other part of the world. So I think that's the main goal of our federation. That is to not only to provide the competition platform for the students, was more to provide the platform or opportunity for the students to cooperate with each other, to make friends, to know the diversified culture from different parts of the world. So we hope that in the future, we can work closely together to make our platform more and more productive and more and more attractive, so that we can help our youth to be both excellent in mind and the body. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. That was very interesting indeed, and rather inspiring, in fact. And I hope there will be the opportunity for Indian teams to take part in your activities and your competitions. And it was interesting the point you made about the pandemic having prompted opportunities to work in ways that are a little bit more accessible, really, to bring more equity to all of this, to save time for students who need to study, and also money, of course. So that was very helpful. Thank you very much. So if we perhaps now come to the platform party, could we start with Professor Kunal? Well, continue with Professor Kunal Saigal, who's the Director of International Markets and Affairs at the International University of Applied Sciences. Please.
Thanks a lot for having me. and a big thanks to AIU for hosting this. Education is one of the most defining experience for us as human beings, and there's a lot room for us to make it better. I'd like to go over a few aspects of challenges that we face, opportunities that exist, and how we can use these opportunities to navigate our challenges and create them into meaningful partnerships. So a bit briefly about our institution. IU, the International University of Applied Sciences, is Germany's largest institution by way of about 170,000 odd students. We are part of a larger group called the IUG Group, IU Group, and we have and operate entities in Canada, UK, soon to be the US and Australia as well. I myself serve as the academic director for the past 8 years. And I'd just like to give you an idea of how active we are in the collaboration space. Let's maybe start with a couple of challenges initially. First and foremost, it's a great deal of unequal access to education that we see. Predominantly in developing parts of the world, we don't have to look very far to see that GER ratios can be anywhere between 4x to 8x different from what we have in maybe more developed Western hemispheres of the world. What's happening here is education, by and large in general, has become very elitist, and it's catering to a population and segment of the market which isn't necessarily the one that is the most underserved. We'd like to break that down. We'd like to increase accessibility to a very strong extent. We find that there will be an acute labor shortage for future-ready skills, and the demand for higher education in the next 10 years is set to increase by approximately 50% or so. The average university across the globe has 2,500 students, and still partnerships are very challenging to build. On a positive side, there's a great amount of opportunity by way of using technology as an enabler. We've taken 3 steps to target this approach in specific. One, we aim to meet the demands of the underserved segment of those who seek education. We've done this by building perhaps the world's largest integrated edtech platform that really owns the value chain from A to Z. And third, we build and expand global partnerships so that we have a diverse network that can tap into these capabilities that not only we've built, but also synergize with assets that you already have into play. We've developed 5 partnership models specifically in the last 2 years to make this happen. This isn't the end, rather just the beginning. But I want to briefly walk you through some of these partnership models to maybe serve as a call to action and maybe inspire you for us to have further conversations along the sidelines. The first of our partnerships is the Study Access Alliance. And this is a non-profit partnership where essentially we partner with governments, NGOs, and public universities. And in essence, what we do is we provide free access to university education across the undergraduate and postgraduate space by offering scholarships of up to 90% and ask our partner to co-fund the remainder 10%, which amounts to approximately 1,000 euros. We allow this to be targeted to certain segments of the market. For example, in Africa, we've launched this with women in technology in rural degrees. We've already rolled out 10,000 scholarships already and have earmarked a further 100,000 scholarships to the tune of almost €1 billion that we're pledging to give out by way of the value of education. Another partnership access point that we offer is the IU Study Abroad Alliance. And what this does is that it allows students the opportunity to study in a very cost-effective and seamless manner in the country of their choice, where the amount of sacrifices and financial resources that they might have to forgo is minimal. We've partnered with institutions in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, to name just a few out of the big four that we traditionally speak of. But now we would like to open this aspect and avenue for sending our students to India as well. Essentially, what the model looks like is that students begin their studies with us online or even physically on the ground should they choose, and they complete 50% of their degree with us. The remainder of the 50%, they essentially digitally articulate to our partner universities. This allows them numerous advantages, staying close to family, keeping in touch with the job market, saving on living expenses, but ultimately going to their dream country destination and again using technology as an enabler to do so and saving time, energy, and of course sacrifices of the student as well. The third partnership model is what we call university as a service. We've developed a turnkey solution that allows literally any player who is interested to expand into the university ecospace. As mentioned, we own the value chain from A to Z, and we offer a real turnkey solution where we can build institutions online in a matter of even 1 month. We've done this for a few institutions in the developing part of the world, and it doesn't need to be the entire value chain itself. You can pick and choose which ones you require expertise. And what's interesting about this is it's efficient. There's less risk involved. Setup costs also are borne by us, and of course, we handhold you throughout the entire process as well. Another quite interesting partnership model is maybe perhaps it's a bit more traditional in the sense that it is a recruitment partnership. In this model, we're going to be providing our capabilities to deliver affordable online degrees. Our partners can leverage this capability to offer and enhance these services with add-ons, brand them in the manner that they like, offer them and tweak them in accordance to their curriculum structure as well. And also access a suite of degrees which maybe perhaps is not at present prevalent within the portfolio space. We have degree programs of approximately 400 odd programs, and to our knowledge, have the largest suite of AI relevant degree programs, because one of our aspects as a University of Applied Sciences is to make sure the knowledge that you get is truly applied and job ready when you hit the ground running. Finally, we have a dual degree pathway project where essentially students are able to gain this dual degree, and our part of this dual degree is delivered online, which again allows students this maximum degree of flexibility while making sure that credit recognition from the physical point of entry towards the pathway is also the most efficient as it could possibly be. Us as an institution, we're legally allowed to recognize up to 50% of the credits as well, to make sure that, again, study progression is quick, and at the same time, ROI is also something that is maximized for these students to excite them and give them a future direction to where they want to end up being. We offer these pathway programs not only to IU in Germany in itself, but also to our institutions in Canada under UFRED, and the UK as well under the LIBF banner, the London Institute of Banking and Finance. And this is something that we will, of course, be expanding to our entities in the US and Australia as well. I hope I've shown you that there are multiple ways in which we can partner in this education space in itself. We look to game change education, and to game change education, we need to do this together as institutions to make sure that no student truly walks alone. I look forward to talking with all of you throughout the remainder of this conference to see how we can further hold hand and develop a win-win solution, not only for the institutions involved, but more importantly, add value for our students.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Absolutely fascinating, and so interesting to hear the way in which your university is being disruptive without being destructive. So working on a truly international scale, a very high scale, kind of mind-boggling number of students, 170,000, with the intention and in fact achievement of being affordable and accessible for students. Really important part of all of this, and innovation being absolutely key in what you're doing there, innovative partnerships and a range of those, as well as the cutting edge tech. So I'm sure there are going to be some great opportunities there. Thank you very much indeed. So if we could now come to Professor Palmik from Lincoln University College in Malaysia. Would you like to say your piece?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And a very good afternoon to the Vice Chancellors and the Secretary General of the AIU and distinguished guests. The international collaboration and participation, what we do, we try to create an ethical entrepreneurs. Now, when we say ethical entrepreneurs, what does it mean? That's very important. Most of the time we get into, okay, I have to collaborate with international universities. But before we really jump into that international collaboration, the most important, we should know each other very well. Whether your vision and mission really works with both the universities. That's first stage. Second stage is the culture. The collaboration and partnership is just not creating simply a graduate, but creating an effective ethical entrepreneur where the graduates of those collaboration can create an impact. Now, when we started Lincoln in 2002, I used to travel quite a lot, traveled almost more than 120 countries. And I was in Rwanda late 90s, and I saw a man was sitting on the street, and I could count each and every bone of the gentleman. And I had 2 pieces of biscuits. I put onto his hand. As he was putting slowly onto his mouth, the biscuit touched and he died. That was in front of my own eyes. And I said to myself, and I regret, I wish instead of putting those biscuits into his hand, I should have put onto his mouth. And I realized why Rwanda was struggling. The entire Africa is purely did not have access of higher education. I quit quite a number of international jobs, and I said I will start Lincoln, where President Abraham Lincoln philosophy that everybody should have access to higher. Now, as we started, we put it to a great monk in the monk, Swami Vivekananda, what he put it together, and we went into more than 30 over countries, created our international collaboration and partnerships. Now, if I put it to you, if the slides can go into the third slides, and look at this. We do in our collaboration and partnerships. Steady, please.
李老师，我回来了。
We try to
天哪，
combine
太
the
棒了！
Western
那烤着让
civilization with
整。
Eastern philosophy put together.
do
是不
you
是这样的？就是说，
especially
咱们这边是相当于
ethical and
收到
moral
了1、2、
where
3
students should be job
台
creators,
湾什么事情，
not
Mm.
the
然
job
后
seekers.
所以咱们这边就把
The
之
next
前做的这
slide,
个事情，
you will find what is lacking in the world.
然后部长可以给我们支持咱们怎么做的。
That's what is lacking in the world. The world is not
好了，
lacking of money. The world is not lacking of jobs. The world is not lacking of
是
anything else, but the world is lacking of I believe in me, the self-confidence. Today, Indian students are traveling to the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and etc. Nothing but they are making that self-confident that they can do. And let's put it this, what Swami Vivekananda says. Next slide. Next. Okay. All the powers within you, and you can do anything and everything. That's what is lacking. That's what we educators continue to put an injection to the young mind, that it is not any other things, the power. And if we go on to the next slide, see what Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi said. The core values of the NEP is to build a young India full of confidence, conviction, and character. And he goes on to say, this was the vision of Swami Vivekananda as well. He wanted India's education to instill our students with confidence and self-reliance. So our international collaboration partnerships should emphasize on these qualities, not just simply getting a certificate and, oh, yes, I have received a degree from Lincoln University College in Malaysia, and you pay the salary. That's not the education. That's not the collaboration. Our collaboration should be building a self-confidence. Now, with this, if we go on to next, and what I said in my first slide, that combination of Asian ethical values into the international collaboration and partnership. We read Gita in India often. In the morning we read and very nicely pray. But we need to put Gita in action. And if you see the Gita in action, that as an entrepreneur need to have focus. Focus on your work, not the result. And that's exactly the chapter 3 of Gita called Nistam Padmajaya. So the entrepreneurship is not outside, people are coming and talking. It is already the Indian ethos is already there. I heard the previous speakers at the panel said the Indian ethos is an important aspect of Indian education. So when we do this international collaboration and partnership in Malaysia, we have a really great civilization of Indian civilization and Chinese civilization and Muslim. The three great populations are in Malaysia. As such, our collaboration and partnership in Malaysia is a combination of fantastic Western discoveries and Asian ethical values. And that's why students come to Malaysia more onto that kind of partnership. So I have given many of these Gitas few actions. You will find that then you have renunciation. Renunciation in chapter 18, you will find entrepreneurs, nothing but they must learn to sacrifice for others. And that is exactly Gita said. So Gita is more onto making you an ethical entrepreneur. And those are the things we need to put it into our education system. Those are the things we need to put it into our international collaboration and partnership. Then you will see the students or the participants who will be creating this. And we go into next slide. That's what Lincoln University is trying to do. That Asian ethics of delivery along with the Western content of globalization. With this, we have been very successful throughout the world. We are present in 35 countries. And one of our dream project in Somalia, when we started our partnership in 2012, full of civil war. And when I tried to go from Malaysia to Somalia, my faculty members, family members literally prevented me not to go. You will die. I took a challenge as an entrepreneur. I would go. I went there in 2012, and we are delivering our program all over Somalia. And we were told we played a great important role in reducing civil war in Somalia. Our students graduate, they migrate, and they work on United Nations Peacekeeping Force. And that's kind of collaboration we need to create in the ourselves. The tuition fees, we really charge very low. We deliver our master program only as $100. We invested the faculty members in Somalia what we want them to deliver. And that kind of collaboration and partnership we need to create. So with this in Malaysia, next slide, we have 160 over programs span across on 12 faculties, starting from medicine, dentistry, nursing, physiotherapy, pharmacy, engineering, education, and so forth. And it is from bachelor, master, PhD. And we see that more than 85 countries' students are getting benefited through us via Malaysia or existing in 35 countries. Now, next slide, you will see these countries. We are present in many ways. And next slides, we do have many research. Our faculty students have published last year more than 300 over Scopus journal articles. And these are all possible because of our international collaboration and partnership. And that was the vision and mission in 2002 when we started Lincoln University. Next slides. And these are very important slides I would like to share with you. I often say, like, we human beings are temporary tourists in this world. We all have to leave. And we are educators. The Supreme Almighty has given all of us chance to do something for the society, and you are one of them. So President Abraham Lincoln wanted that everybody should have the higher education. And we deliver such partnership at a very, very affordable cost. Now, why we do this? As we temporary tourists, let's leave a legacy that we came in this world for temporary periods. We have done something for the society, that we have created an ethical entrepreneur, and we leave an impact in the society. Lincoln University College, under the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking, SDG number 4, Sustainable Development Growth in Education, in the world, we have ranked number 32. That's because of this kind of ethical, we put it into our deliberation. So as all of you, the Vice Chancellors are here, it is your responsibility, my responsibility, to create an education system that output is just not seeking jobs, just not making the materialistic wealth which will not go with us, but as Swami Vivekananda puts it, that education should be man making character, build a good character, and that character will create a legacy, and that character will play an active role, not to have war in the world. That character will play an active role not to have conflict with anyone. Today, you open up TV, newspapers, you see everywhere nothing but war and conflict. Let's put together, we all the educators, let's put together, work together, and create a partnership whereby the outcome will be nothing but create a legacy of yours, impact in the society, that we do not have war, we do not have conflict, we live in this society peacefully. That should be the real international collaboration and partnership. With this, thank you. Let's pray together. The whole world is in tremendous conflict and war. And we pray that all these conflicts, these war, go away and we live peacefully and harmoniously. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very much, Professor Steigal. A very strongly values-driven approach there. We do have two more speakers, Professor Thapa and Mr. Malkani. So if we can come to Professor Thapa, please. I think we're getting a little bit short of time, but I think we've got time to go through these. Professor Thapa of Kathmandu University, please.
Good afternoon, namaskar. Would it be possible to present my slides, Dr. Rama? Is it possible, like, to present my slide?
We are seeing.
Anyway, I will be presenting here the international collaboration and partnership in context of our experience of hosting the AIU North Zone Vice Chancellors Conference at Kathmandu, and then the experience of Nepal on internationalization and collaboration, especially the need and its impact. Is it possible?
Sir, it's taking time. You may start speaking.
Fine. So first of all, again, I would like to thank AIU, all the AIU members. You have interested Kathmandu University for this AIU North Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. That is sort of a testimony of real international collaboration. Because I was told that was the first ever meeting of the AIU that was hosted outside India. And I was told that the participating vice chancellors really liked the event. And then we have developed a partnership so that we can initiate and start something. Definitely the need of the cooperation, global and then the regional cooperation is very important. It's because what the the youth of this time is thinking, how they are planning and preparing for their future. That is also pressing us or forcing us to go for the international collaborations and cooperations. The higher education history of Nepal is not that word. We had a only one university in Nepal for quite a long time. And Nepal has gone through different political changes in last 30 years, we should say. So with single party political systems to multi-party political system, and then federal system, and then the now provincial system. So when political changes are taking place, there is a lot of changes in higher education, especially the establishment of the universities. Kathmandu University was also outcome of the political change in 1990. Yeah, with the restoration of a democracy in the country, Kathmandu University was established by the first democratically elected parliament of Nepal. And afterwards, like with every political change, new universities are coming up. Even if Nepal is a small country, but we have 24 universities or university status institutions in the Nepal. And there is a sort of a competition or that this acceleration of establishment of the new institutions when we went to the provincial system. Like we have 7 provinces. It's a central government is also establishing new universities or academies which can issue the degrees, as well as the provincial governments are also establishing a new universities. But on contrary to that, the experience or the challenge which the higher education institutions are facing is after the COVID, from 2019-20, the enrollment in the higher education is going down. So at one end, the number of institutions are increasing, and on the other hand, like we don't know exactly the region, but the enrollment, even in the old universities like Trivandrum University, even in Kathmandu University, it was going down. And there is, the reason is sort of, I will say that there was a impact of more globalization of Nepali higher education system. So with the this change of political systems, many foreign universities coming in Nepal, as well as Nepal became little open, and then more and more youth were going out. So it was really interesting. A country like a small country with about 30 million people. So almost 1/3 of the youth of Nepal, they are outside. Outside for a job. Initially, they say that, okay, we'll go for study, but they are in the job. But anyway, they are of the age which should have taken some training and education. So wherever they are, so it's a responsibility of either Nepal or wherever they are of that country to train them, not just to use them as a labor. So every year, like as I said, like almost 1/3 of Nepali people, they are outside in India. Almost about 3 lakhs Nepali, 30 lakhs Nepali, they must be in India. Somehow working or studying or other thing. And there is no official records of that because we have an open border. We can freely move here and there. Similarly, like in the country like Australia, it was 2023. So almost as much as 30,000 Nepali youths, they went for the higher study. And in the country like Japan, like almost 20,000 Nepali youth went. Some of them went for the university courses, but some of them went for just a language course, 6 months language course or 6 months management training. So it's really a sort of, we as academic institutions or we as the people of the Nepal think that that's a loss of sort of energy or a possibility of that. If we could have trained them for something which they are working on, so maybe they would have been very efficient and they could have brought little out. So I don't know, there might be a problem in my slides, but there is nothing very interesting on that. Only some data. I just wanted to, okay, it's there, but you can just roll on to the slide number 7 or 8. No, it doesn't matter. So, of course, we talk quite a lot about the brain drain because since most of people are going out, so we don't know whether this brain drain will help us in the coming days for a brain gain as India has. So, but more than that, there was a significant impact on treasury of Nepal, especially when there was a crisis in Sri Lanka. Nepal also faced almost a crisis of foreign currency reserve and foreign currency outflow at that time. And there was sort of a hue and cry. Oh, what happens next? But somehow we managed. We managed. It's not that like the number of students outbound it's managed, but somehow our economy was managed. But we are really worried now because of the international, with higher education, or we can say the internationalization of higher education. There can be a serious impact on national economy, especially the country like Nepal. Definitely now we should take this as an opportunity. Of course, we had a crisis, but we thought we should take this as a, even you can go to the next slide, please. How can we make use of this, the youth's tendency to migrate temporarily or permanently? Because Nepal was a country which has a history of migration. Like even in the British Raj, British colonial system here in India, so even we sometimes those who were recruited in the army in Lahore, all those people are called Laure. Okay, Laure is sort of a profession in Nepal. They go outside to get the job. So even now, since students are going out for education and they are getting a job, so trying to work and then make some money. So maybe we should try to make use of this opportunity. That's why now we can have sort of a together with the global movement and global cooperation on the higher education. We back in home, we are also discussing about the regional and then the Asia-centric cooperation. Many of our youths migrating or going towards the West are not coming back. But normally those our students going to the Asia or South Asia, they are coming back after their education and a few years of service. So these were the things that we discussed during our, please move on. Next slide, please. These were the things which we discussed during, next please, AIU North Zone's Vice Chancellor's Conference. Some of the issues which we thought like was sort of a problem and opportunity for us, it was also same for Indian university. The number of Indian students going abroad was quite much higher than what Nepal had. So in that context, we discuss about what can be next place, what can be our cooperation, and we're really excited, and then we're really glad that so much of that the higher education institute showed interest on this. So we had almost 98 vice chancellors from India. They were there in Kathmandu. I think this is the biggest gathering of academicians in the history of Nepal. So we're almost about 200 institutions gathered in Nepal. And then we were given quite, this next please. So even not only the university, the entire political system of the country, bureaucracy, civil society and academia has given a quite high importance of this meeting of Association of Indian University North Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. Both the Prime Minister and the Education Minister and all the government officials are given quite due respect and then given a time and importance for this meeting. So I will not discuss, next please, I will not discuss what was the takeaway for India for that particular meeting. Of course, we discussed, so we need to have some platforms or permanent arrangements that how can we collaborate or do a partnership. I will just tell some of the success stories of Nepal, Kathmandu University. We have been running a joint master's program with the IIT Madras on electrical power engineering with the 2 logos on the same certificate. That's our experimentation. The first batch will graduate this year. And then we have a joint program. We have an exchange student mobility program with the IIT Hyderabad. So Professor Murthy, director, maybe he will explain something tomorrow. And then we have a plan to start a joint PhD program from this year. And besides that, of course, we can learn from each other because we are a knowledge hub. This is a knowledge hub. So the dream or strategy to become a world guru, Vishwa Guru. Nepal and the other country can also join hands for that. So for that reason, like we tried to connect Pashupati with Tirupati. So in Tirupati, we have started one small program on bachelor's in yogic science and well-being. I know that there could be a lot of government regulations and permissions to do that. But we have already admitted 6 students in the yogic science and well-being at Tirupati, and then 20 students are in Kathmandu. They will be coordinating, collaborating. The degree will be issued by Kathmandu University. It will be the first ever example. The embassy, Indian embassy at Kathmandu also know it. My Prime Minister, he has already formally acknowledged this process, but we need to regularize and then formalize it. Please, next please. Next please. So the Nepali media has given quite this value of the AIU North Zone's Vice Chancellors Conference, and they are really looking forward for what comes out next from this. So when we talk about the internationalization of higher education, sometimes even we think that okay, many universities from all around the world comes at one place, talk about the research, student mobility, new programs and other things. But Nepali society, even the rural society, was so anxious and so happy to hear that like so many vice chancellors were coming here, coming in the country. Please, next please. So this joy the Nepali people had. People, all the illiterate people, indigenous people from the villages, they came and then welcomed the vice chancellors. So the internationalization of higher education, which we thought like maybe it will go only for the elite society, but in our case, it went down to the roots. And I hope through the internationalization and globalization and higher education, we can be a Vishwa Guru together, and then we can bring the prosperity in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for a passionate intervention there, and particularly interesting on the economic effects that we have to take into account with all of this. So can I ask now Aditya Malkani to speak, and I need to be advised how we're doing for time and also whether I've missed anybody out, but if I can ask Aditya to speak, please.
A very good afternoon, colleagues, and thank you very much to President G.D. Sharma, Dr. Mittal, other esteemed colleagues at the AIU for inviting us here today. It gives me great pleasure to speak to you as the Regional Director for the Association of Commonwealth Universities. We have a close and enduring partnership with the Association of Indian Universities, and it's perhaps my 5th or 6th time addressing this august audience, and certainly feel very, very welcome and very privileged to have this opportunity to speak with you today. I'm also very conscious, of course, that we're running over time, and therefore I'm going to keep my comments extremely brief by design. But I hope I'll be able to deliver the message of the work that we do and some thoughts on the topic in the next few minutes or so. So let me start, colleagues, by saying that when I was a much younger man, about 15 years ago, wet behind the ears, college graduate, I had a mentor who once said to me that the objective of education really is to understand before one misunderstands. And I think that's such an important message which has remained with me ever since I've continued in this path of working in international education, because if one thinks about it really, the world would be a much happier, more compassionate, more empathetic place if we simply taught our students and indeed first ourselves learned to understand before we misunderstand. And in many ways, colleagues, the very objective of the organization I serve, which is the Association of Commonwealth Universities, is indeed to work through universities, through international collaboration, to help make the world a better place. We are the world's first and oldest international university association. We were established way back in 1913, and therefore for about 110 years have been working closely with universities across the Commonwealth to further international collaboration, to be the voice of higher education in the Commonwealth, to offer grants and fellowships and scholarships to staff and students across our member institutions. To tell you a little bit about the ACU in numbers, we have over 400 member universities today, located in over 40 Commonwealth countries across all continents except Antarctica. We have as part of our network over 10 million students and over 1 million academics and professional services staff. And we're all bound together through this thread, this common enduring passion to make the better world, to make the world a better place through higher education. The role of the ACU really is three-pronged. So we have three very diverse but interconnected areas of work. One is, of course, we offer a range of scholarships, fellowships, and grants. And these are scholarships and fellowships and grants that exceed £700,000 in value every year. At the moment, we have a few grants and fellowships open, and I'm going to refer to my notes for the ACU members in the room to take note. So at the moment, we have open our supporting research community training grants, which enable universities to develop programs which will help build the skills of early career researchers. We have our early career conference grants, both of these open until the 23rd of April. And these early career conference grants support young early career academics when they want to, if and when they want to attend conferences in other Commonwealth countries. We have open our higher education and the SDGs network grants, which support work being done by academics or being done by professional services staff in our member universities in support of the UN SDGs. We have opened the Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Scholarships, which is a remarkable program that supports master's students who want to undertake a 2-year master's program in a low and middle income Commonwealth country. And we have certain host universities in certain low and middle income Commonwealth countries that accept students as part of this program, and interested parties can certainly have a look on our website. This Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Scholarship Program is open till the 24th of May in this current round. Talking about international collaboration and the topic of internationalization at home, I'm actually reminded of a wonderful program that we innovated and ran during the throes of the pandemic. And this was a program known as the Commonwealth Virtual Exchange. Of course, we're all gathered here today in person, shaking hands and being able to meet face to face. But not long ago, we were all locked in our homes or our offices or faraway rooms behind screens. And the ACU at the time rose to the occasion and launched something known as a Commonwealth Virtual Exchange, which involved 10 universities from across 5 Commonwealth countries. And through this program, we were able to bring together 50 undergraduate students, all from underrepresented groups, to do a program that focused on intercultural learning, leading to a social entrepreneurship project. Each of these modules that evolved into this program were developed by our member institutions. So we had the University of Malaya in Malaysia that took the lead, along with Manipal Academy of Higher Education in India. And we had some other universities from the UK and from Australia and from Hong Kong and from India that were part of the working group and also participated in this program. So that was an interesting example where across 8 weeks, we had students learn intercultural competencies so important in the modern world, and eventually had to develop working groups remotely and develop a social entrepreneurship project. I want to take this opportunity. I know time is short, but I want to take this opportunity also to say we run another very unique program known as the Ocean Country Partnership Program. What I'm trying to do, colleagues, really is to give you examples of the range of activities that the ACU is involved with. So this Ocean Country Partnership Program offers a unique opportunity to undertake a fully funded master's or a PhD in marine sciences. This particular program is funded through the UK's Blue Planet Fund and is open to early and mid-career researchers who are interested in the area of marine sciences. The overall aim of these scholarships is to strengthen the capacity of the partner countries that host these OCPP scholars. OCPP stands for Ocean Country Partnership Program, and also to address marine environmental challenges, which so many countries across the world are facing today. To date, the OCPP scholarships have been extended to students in 10 different Commonwealth countries, including here in India. Finally, colleagues, in the interest of time, I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of work that we do in convening groups of academics and professional services staff. So the ACU runs these fabulous networks in different themes. At the moment, we run networks in climate resilience, in higher education and the SDGs, and in peace and reconciliation. We also run professional communities in human resources in higher education, and we're very grateful to Dr. Pankaj Mittal, who has served for many years on the steering committee of our human resources in higher education professional community. And we run one also in support of research. These networks and communities, colleagues, are open to academics as well as professional services staff from across our membership to join, to learn from one another, to contribute ideas, to share initiatives that they may be conducting in these areas, as well as gain from initiatives that others in the network bring to the table. We're in the process at the moment of reimagining some of our networks and communities, and are considering different areas through consultation with our members to be able to come out with some equally unique networks and communities which will benefit our membership here in India and across the world. In closing, colleagues, I want to say that India is the country where we have our single largest number of members. 13% of Indian universities are part of our membership. We have at least one ACU member institution in 26 Indian states, as well as 2 union territories. Of our 400 plus members across 42 Commonwealth countries, 134 members are in India. And that just goes to show how important engagement with organizations like the ACU and indeed with eminent vice chancellors like yourself is. I'll stop here in the interest of time, and I also want to make sure my colleague from the USIEF gets the stage to be able to deliver her comments. But I want to thank you for your kind invitation, colleagues at the AIU, the ICFI Foundation for Higher Education, who we count among our eminent member institutions. In fact, we have 9 universities within the ICFI group as members of the ACU, and each one of them is very, very special for us. So thank you, colleagues. It's been an absolute privilege and pleasure talking to you, and look forward to carrying on our conversation over tea and biscuits. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. And we now come to our final speaker, which is Ms. Sujana Reddy Mareddy, the USIEF's regional officer in Hyderabad. If I could invite you to speak, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It was a very, very long panel. And after a heavy lunch, I'm going to keep it short, like my other colleagues. So I am here to share the remarkable journey and activities of United States India Educational Foundation. We fondly call it as USEF or USIF. Talking about the collaboration and internationalization, I thought it was extremely important to know a little history about USEF. I keep bumping into Fulbrighters wherever I go, and I know many of you are very familiar with Fulbright Fellowship. But for those of you who are not very familiar with Fulbright, the story of USEF dates back to the late 1950s, when two visionary leaders, India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and US Ambassador Lloyd Henderson, signed the agreement for funding certain educational exchange programs. What would become a academic and cultural exchange between our two great nations, establishing the United States Educational Foundation in India to administer the Fulbright program. Can you put up my slides? Is it possible? Slide. All right. You can go to the next slide, please. No, it was not given. Right. The vision of USIF is to deepen and widen mutual understanding between the citizens of India and the US through focused educational and cultural exchanges. USIF as a commission is governed by the Binational Board of Trustees, consisting of 5 members nominated by the Government of India and 5 members nominated by the US Ambassador to India. The US Ambassador to India and the Indian Foreign Secretary are the honorary co-chairs of the Board of Trustees. We have offices in major cities across India, and all our offices serve as catalysts for academic excellence and cross-cultural exchange. Over the years, USIF has evolved, adapting to the changing times and needs. In 2028, a significant milestone was reached with the signing of a new agreement marking the United States as equal partner in funding the Fulbright program. The increase in exchanges under the new agreement has allowed for a tripling in size of the program and for the development of new programs. India now has the largest Fulbright Fellowship program in the world and one of the largest student research programs worldwide. But our journey didn't stop there. In 2016, USEF launched Fulbright Kalam Fellowship Program, focusing on addressing climate change-related issues in both countries, showcasing our commitment to tackling global challenges through joint efforts and cooperation. Can you go to the next slide, please? Just to provide you some broad statistics on Fulbright, the program operates in more than 160 countries worldwide and has provided approximately 400,000 participants with an opportunity to study, teach, or conduct research in each other's countries and exchange ideas. Approximately 8,000 competitive merit-based grants are awarded annually in most academic disciplines and field of study. Since its inception, USEF in India has awarded more than 10,000 Fulbright grants and close to 9,000 other awards funded by the US Department of Education. USEF's impact goes beyond numbers and statistics. It's about fostering meaningful connections and building bridges between people, institutions, and cultures. Our programs have provided countless individuals with life-changing opportunities to study, teach, and conduct research in each other's countries. These experiences not only enrich the lives of the participants, but also contribute to the greater good by promoting international understanding and collaboration. Can you go to the next slide, please? At USEF, we have 2 main mandates. One is to administer Fulbright scholarships for US citizens coming to India and Indian citizens going to the US. And the second mandate is Education USA. All the activities in USEF fall under these 2 major mandates. Next slide, please. Education USA is the advising services, and these services further strengthen our commitment to promoting US higher education opportunities to Indian students, ensuring access to accurate, current, comprehensive, and unbiased information about studying in the United States. Education USA services at USF are completely funded and supported by the US Department of State. There are over 430 advising centers in more than 175 countries. We have 6 centers in 5 cities in India. Next slide, please. So when a student walks into any of the center across India, we take them through these 5 steps. We guide them through these 5 steps from the point of shortlisting. How do you go about looking for a university? How do you go about shortlisting the university? How do you plan your finances? What about the various aspects of applications, visa process, and before you go, what are some of the important aspects that you need to know as part of the pre-departure orientation? Next slide, please. Yeah. In addition to working with the students directly on Education USA side, we also work with the higher education institutes from United States in their recruitment efforts and Indian universities in reaching out to the students. So that ends my PowerPoint presentation. And as we reflect on our journey so far with USED, we reaffirm our commitment to the principles of mutual understanding, cooperation, and academic excellence that have guided us throughout the years. So together, let's continue to build a brighter future through the education, one exchange at a time. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much indeed for that further invocation of the values that we really need to be upholding if this is all to work. And I think that has been the outcome really of this session, ranging widely over a variety of ways of collaborating internationally, but unified by an assertion and indeed justification of the value of international cooperation, but also the fact that international collaboration should be strongly values driven. So thank you very much indeed to all our speakers. I feel we have used up our time, and more than that, I know it's now time for tea for you. So I think it makes sense at this stage to declare this session closed with, again, once more, many thanks for the invitation and for the opportunity to engage with you today. I hope that I will be able to do so again in future. You're a really important partner for us. And as you've heard from Aditya Malkani, the ACU is critically engaged in India and wish to be so into the future. So once more, thanks for the invitation and thanks very much indeed for this session. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the Association of Indian University and the ICFI Foundation for Higher Education, extend my heartfelt thanks to all our esteemed international delegates for their participation, insights, and contribution. I also express my gratitude to the organizers, volunteers, and staff who have worked tirelessly to ensure the success of the session. Now I would like Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General of AIU, and Professor G.D. Sharma, President of AIU, to facilitate our speakers. Please come on, guys. Professor, Professor Sujana Reddy. Professor Sujana Reddy. Professor Kunal Saigal. Professor Bola Thapa. Professor Bola Thapa. Professor Aditya Malkan. Now I request Dr. Shailesh C, Director, ICFI School of Social Science, to felicitate our guest on dais. Thank you, sir.
Now, I request all our esteemed guests to remain seated. We will continue with the next session on Bharati Nominated Systems. Thank you. I request the members in the audience that someone has lost their key of room number 1931. Room number 1931.
For your comfort, tea arrangements are made in the hall at the back.